There is a moment that almost no one sees. It is late at night, and the world is completely silent. No notifications, no voices, no distractions. But inside your mind it is the opposite of silent. It is loud. It is busy. It is unstoppable. A single thought appears. Did I say something wrong today? And suddenly your brain opens thousands of thoughts at once. You replay conversations. You analyze every word, every expression, every pause. You imagine what people meant, what they thought, what they felt, and what they now think about you. A simple moment turns into a full story in your mind. A story where you are misunderstood. A story where you are judged. A story where you are not enough. This is the hidden world of people who think too much. And if you are one of them, you already know. It is not just thinking. It is overthinking. And it changes everything. Overthinkers do not just live in reality. They live in possibilities. Every small decision becomes a big problem. Should I send this message? What if they misunderstand it? What if they ignore me? What if I sound strange? Most people send the message and move on. But overthinkers cannot move on. They stay. They analyze. They replay. Because the mind believes something powerful. If I think enough, I can prevent mistakes. If I analyze enough, I can avoid pain. If I prepare for everything, nothing will go wrong. But this belief is not protection. It is a trap. Overthinking feels like control, but it is actually loss of control. Because your mind is no longer responding to reality. It is responding to fear. And fear creates stories that feel real. A slow reply becomes rejection. A neutral tone becomes anger. A silence becomes distance. But none of this is confirmed. It is imagined. And slowly you stop questioning these thoughts. You start believing them. That is where overthinking becomes dangerous. Because it feels productive. It feels like solving problems. But in reality, it is repetition. The same thought. The same fear. The same question. Again and again. And every time you repeat it, it feels more real. Until you forget it was only a thought, not a fact. Overthinking often comes from care. People who think too much are usually people who feel deeply. They notice small changes. They feel emotions strongly. They care about how others feel. But the same awareness that makes them sensitive also makes them overthink everything. A small change in behavior becomes a signal. A small silence becomes meaning. A small action becomes a message. But the problem is not awareness. The problem is interpretation. Because the mind starts filling gaps with fear. And when fear fills the gaps, reality gets distorted. Overthinking feels like safety, but it creates anxiety. It feels like preparation, but it creates exhaustion. Mental exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, silent exhaustion. Even when your body rests, your mind continues working. Even when everything is fine, your thoughts are not fine. And the hardest part is this. Overthinking does not stop during happiness. It enters happiness too. You start thinking, what if this does not last? What if something goes wrong later? So even good moments are not fully enjoyed. The mind is always preparing for loss. But here is something important. Overthinking is not a personality flaw. It is a habit of the mind. And every habit can be changed. The mind believes every thought is important. But not every thought deserves attention. Just because you think something does not mean it is true. Just because it feels real does not mean it is real. Most thoughts are just mental noise, created by fear, shaped by past experiences, and repeated by habit. The goal is not to stop thinking. That is impossible. The goal is to stop believing every thought. You are not your thoughts. You are the one who notices them. And that changes everything. Because once you begin to observe your thoughts, instead of becoming them, you create space. Space between you and your mind. And in that space, there is clarity. There is calm. There is control. Overthinking loses power when you stop feeding it attention. You do not fight it. You do not chase it. You simply observe it and return to the present moment. Because peace does not exist in thinking. Peace exists in presence. Right here. Right now. Not in the past. Not in the future. But in this moment. And the more you return to the present, the quieter your mind becomes. Over time, the loops become weaker. The fear becomes smaller. The thoughts lose control. And you start living instead of analyzing. You start experiencing instead of predicting. You start being instead of overthinking. Because your mind was never meant to control you. It was meant to support you. And when you take back control, everything changes. If you have ever felt trapped inside your own thoughts, If your mind never lets you rest, even when everything is fine, then you are not alone. But you also do not have to stay stuck in this cycle. Take a moment right now, breathe, and realize you are not your thoughts. If this video helped you even a little, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more deep psychological content, and comment below. Do you also overthink everything in your life? Your story might help someone else feel understood today.